Shooto Battle was a launch title for Tokyo Xtreme Racer. They're not the same game, right? Or Tokyo Highway Challenge in Europe was a launch title for the Dreamcast in overseas regions, published by Crave in 1999. While this isn't their first game about highway duels, the series actually dates back to 1994 with a Super Famicom game. This is a cult classic that somehow put the series and Genki on the map. I actually don't mind the name changes, but I really don't like how the US version of the logo looks so bland compared to the Japanese version. That one has an animation before and after the title screen, which the US version doesn't. Just fade ins and outs, BAM! Sponsored by a tuning magazine that still exists in some capacity. The Japanese version has this little phone logo. That's pretty good to their website if you have Dream Passport installed. It is a disc model with Japanese Dreamcast at first, which gives the console the ability to surf the web and all that. I'm sure you've heard of one of its overseas equivalents like Web Browser 2.0. Sound generic. Before we jump into the main quest, there's a few additional game modes here. Quick races where you race against other people without the need to cruise. Can be either a standard point-to-point race or the 100-car survival highway battles, where you must win all of them, all without a replenishing bar. Winning all of them unlocks an old Fairlane you can buy, the one that looks like the Devil's Eve from Mike at Midnight. There's also practice mode and 2-player races, not much else really. Let's go to quest mode, the main part of the game. You start with 25,000 child porn, what the fuck? I know it's supposed to mean something else like credit points, but it's so easy to think of something abhorrent when it's CP. Anyway, you start with 25,000 money to buy your first car. Including the unlocked cars, the list is composed of almost all JDM cars, plus the Eclipses in the overseas versions. While they're not licensed, you can tell what they're supposed to be by the looks and their chassis codes. I know there's supposed to be a 2nd gen MR2, I know that it's supposed to be a Nissan Gloria, and I know that this is a forced meme. I really like the Car Select song though. I went with the Civic. I'm glad it can change its name to something else. I don't get why all the cars have, I think, the Massachusetts license plates in the overseas versions, but in the Japanese version you can even import numbers on it. A little sheet for you. If you keep randomizing each number until it all has 7s, you get the car for free. It's like the Speed 12 loophole in GT2, but even better. And now it's on to become the ultimate, domestic racer. Come on, the game takes place around the infamous Shuto C1 expressway in Tokyo, and you drive Japanese sports cars as the dance around it. To the locals, an import would be something like a Chevelle. In 1999, these graphics would have been mind-blowing for a console game. Nowadays, I've seen better, even on the same console. They look decent though, even with the noticeable low polyness, the cars are still accurate to their real counterparts. It's certainly better than Sega GT and even Test Drive 6. Ugh. And the sense of speed is here. It's not that smooth when you suddenly hit somebody, but at least it's there and it's great. I don't know why the headlights keep flashing no matter what. Is this game supposed to be played in Interlaced mode? The cars sound like they came from Gran Turismo 1. Vacuums and hairdryers all the fucking way! And I don't know if it's my emulator's fault, but the opponent's car sounds are very monotone. It doesn't raise nor lower at all, it's grating. Most songs in the game are Eurobeats, it's just they don't have an ecstatic singer saying nonsense in English. They sound like they should, at least one of the race songs have a vocal version, though it's some sweet Japanese singer instead. It still sounds great though, like the rest of them. I really dig the cheesy rock jingles when you start a race. This is, of course, an arcade racer. The physics aren't as complicated, you can't flip your car, and the controls, while not crazy, is not as irritating as driving a race car in Forza. They're easy to learn yet hard to master. You still have to slow down chicanes, which is less risky than sending it. Oh shit, that wheel was trying to fly off! It can get annoying whenever you hit something, mostly by mistake. And like Sega GT, scraping the wall when going forward slows your car down to a notch. I still have nightmares about it ever since I played that. I don't know how to reverse in the auto transmission. I tried the D-pad, I tried the X and A buttons, but nothing happened. I had to do a maneuver to get to the right way after I made a mistake, like suddenly veering through a wall. The races in the game are usually short, most of them taking less than a minute to finish, meaning that most of your time spending on the highway is cruising around and reaching to your rival. While I don't mind the repetitiveness, during races there are some sections of the track that piss me off, like this part in the inner loop or the chicanes in this part no matter the direction. I can almost never get the right lines, I tend to get the block exit most of the time. But even then, the C1 here still gives me this odd feeling of nostalgia. Those times when I was a kid at the backseat of my dad's car, admiring the city highways at night, the neon lights on the buildings, the noise barriers, the near emptiness. I think I enjoyed them at night more than at daytime. There's a lot of interesting stuff on the sides, both in real life and in the games. Where were we again? I was suddenly reminiscing of my childhood for a moment. The objective of Quest Mode is to do one-on-one races against street racers that casually cruise around the expressway and earn cash for upgrades and new cars. You initiate a race by flashing your headlights, much like the Midnight Club games is the second game. And speaking of other games, remember Need for Speed Underground 2 at the Outrun races? Yeah, that's kind of it. To win, you must get ahead of your opponent until you drain their bar, vice versa, and you lose. The further away any of you are, the faster it depletes. If you lose the race, all you earn is the mileage money. Oh yeah, that can also happen! I don't like how the rivals you're beating are in green and the ones you've lost to are in purple. It makes me think of unsavory things. And it's not about Evangelion. In order to defeat the leader of a team, you must of course defeat their teammates. After that, they flash at you just after you go back to cruise mode. Usually they are challenging, but it can earn you a bit more CP compared to the rest. After defeating 2 teams, you confront one of the 4 Devas. As bound for the course, they are harder than the rest. You must put your driving skills and car upgrades to the test, as they like to cheat a lot. And expectedly, if you win, you earn a lot more than usual. After defeating all 4, the credits roll, but it's not actually over yet! The 4 devils show up and you must defeat one of each every 3 teams this time. Simple, right? Yeah, well, some members and leaders aren't much of a problem, it's just the others, the Devas and the Devils, are a bitch to race. Not only do they try to sideswipe you, they also like to block you, more so when you enter a corner. It's like they're trying to beat me at my own game. I can't have that. I will fight dirty even if it kills me! Traffic isn't helping matters either. They're annoying, they make cornering a bitch, they change lanes on unexpected times, and I swear those lanes are gonna be the fucking death of me. Consider that both of you in the races are going fast and this close, you have to be a pro at avoiding traffic, tackling corners with speed, and controlling the fishtailing. Unfortunately, I tried being the first of the 4 devils and I just gave up on the game. I think this guy's cheating. Sure, the Devas and the Devils tend to slow down considerably in the corners, but they're still frustrating to beat. What is it with games that I want to play and have bullshit late game levels and bosses? Moving on to other quest stuff, you can upgrade to and customize your cars for Need for Speed fully embraced it, and you get to check the teams and their members with funny names like Prince of the Highways, My Red Ruby, Drift Baby, Rolling Dude 12345, Sweet Blues, and Sylvester. In the context of this game, that is the weirdest. Smiles at the end. What are they implying here? Legendary Blue Color.
You don't know what hard times are, Daddy!
Oh fuck! Street Dancer. They suck at road racing. She became interested in racing while shooting races practicing. Oh god, the English. College student in heavy debt, always borrowing money to improve his car. As if actually paying their debt will make his life better. I saw like 3 drivers who race on a highway like they have a drug addiction. How to do the same description will sound like the same description. Hard-working businessman by day, hardcore racer at night. Oh look, it's Midnight Club. Maybe. While I had some frustrating moments, it's still an enjoyable game. It has races that put you on the edge of your seat, requiring a lot of concentration and finesse. Even driving 1 to C1 isn't as boring despite being the only map in the game. If you can find a copy, I recommend getting it. If not, nothing a little emulation can fix. Well, on to working on that big overview. And now I have a sudden urge to vote Republican. It's probably nothing.
Oh boy!